Have you heard the story or the legend of the spirit that haunts the Netherland Inn Rd? Y'all, it's located in Kingsport, Tennessee, and there has been over 100 and something eyewitnesses. Disclaimer. Before we get started on this story, I'd like to say that there are going to be probably multiple different versions of the story floating around out there, but I've done the best that I could to piece it all together for you from different books and different things online that I've looked up and different word of mouth stories I've heard myself. So, here we go. It was a super foggy night, and these five guys were riding a Model T Ford, and they were going down the Rogersville Pike, and they came up on Rutherwood Bridge, and when they did, a dog came out of nowhere, and the driver swerved to miss the dog, lost control of the vehicle, and slammed it into the concrete barrier. And this all happened in 1922. And when help arrived on the scene, it was said that 3 of the guys in the car didn't make it, and 2 were rushed to the hospital. One of the guys that was rushed to the hospital's name was Charlie, and Charlie's dad was named Hugh. And when Hugh got word of what happened, Hugh jumped in his vehicle on that dark, foggy night and hauled it straight to the hospital just to be there with his son. And Charlie had some bad injuries. He had hit his head and had a concussion, and then he had some internal things going on. Hugh stayed all night long by his son's side, and Charlie was started to seem to make a turnaround. Started getting better, recovering from that concussion, and internal stuff seemed to be healing as well. So Hugh found it that he needed to do some errands, and he was going to go back home for a bit, maybe go get some clothes. So he had parked at the bottom of the hill because the hospital was up on the hill, and it was still foggy whenever he came out. It was so foggy, you could split it with a, you know what I mean? So he started walking down the hill, and when he got down to his vehicle was across the road. So he started across to get to his car. Well, he looked up, and another vehicle was coming towards him, and they didn't even hit the brakes, and they took out old Hugh. One version of the story is that Hugh instantly lost his life, and the second version is that they picked up Hugh and they took him right back up the hill to the hospital, where he survived for 2 more days until he passed away. And in that part of the legend, it said that whenever Hugh had lost his life and passed away in the hospital, that Charlie's ears began to bleed. The person that was said to be driving this vehicle was a young female that had never driven a car before. It sounds like she ain't had no business out there driving during some thick fog with no experience. The other survivor of the crash that was in the hospital with Charlie had also passed away the night before. But Charlie did survive his injuries and lived on to see the rest of his days, but he didn't recover from the loss of his father because he always blamed himself. Now, here's another way that the stories get a little weird, because there are multiple ways that witnesses describe this spirit on the side of the road. One is that he wears a fedora, he wears a trench coat and a scarf. Another one is that he is wearing a World War II Army coat. But what all these stories do have in common is that there is a man spirit that does step out of the road on thick, foggy nights, and he will wave his arms to slow you down. People usually try to swerve around him, and if they don't in time, it seems like they just pass through the figure, and the figure just disappears or goes straight through their vehicle. Many of the people that have seen him are the workers that are on their drive to the Eastman plant in Kingsport. There have been stories of ladies that have seen him, and they have slowed down just in time to see an animal cross in front of their vehicle. He's also been said to be an omen of sorts. But like I said, there are multiple versions of this story, but there sure are a lot of eyewitnesses. If you like this story, y'all know what to do. Have you seen the spirit of Hugh? Let me know as well. And y'all don't forget to follow me for more paranormal stories.